EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Monday edition of Birds 365 here. Kicking off a new week on JAKIB Sports, a new week on Birds 365, and it'll be a great 10 hours of content this week across the network. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Monday morning, brother, to kick off another new week? Only 4 weeks left, John, before training camp, brother.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like football. It's a scorcher locally.
Oh,
so
man.
Everybody stay cool if you're local as best as possible. And more importantly, keep those pets cool.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's supposed to get up to 100, Johnny Mac, in Philly this week, man.
It is already. I was out there. It's our trash day where I am. I'm already overheated at 8 in the morning. That's not a good sign.
No, yeah, but it is a hot one, no doubt about it. I'm going to welcome and thank everybody for being here this morning. Another week here on Birds 365. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. Give us follows on X at Zander Krause and at JF McMullen. We'll have Jeff Kerr coming up on the show a little bit later on, as we normally do on our Monday edition. So plenty to talk about here. Today, John, we're going to follow along to start off. Because we are in off-season mode, we have a little bit of freedom to kind of go wherever we want to go. But I'm going to follow along. You and Ed Kratz have been talking about, and you do this every year. We've talked about it on the show for years. But you guys do your top 25 players. And I love the way you do it because you make your list, Ed makes his list, and then there's a point system, starting at the top, I guess it's 25 points, and the 25th person is 1 point. And you combine the two lists. And then the point system determines the top 25 players between you and Eddie Kratz, one of our favorite guests here on Birds 365. So we're going to follow along with the top 25. Johnny Mac, here on Birds 365.
Yeah, it's and when you do this, and there's very little conformity between our list, which tells you two things. It tells you, the people have debates on who's, and we always talk about definitions, and I always talk about the quarterback position because I try to take importance out of it, because that to me is not a very interesting conversation, because the quarterback is always the most important, and that's whether he's a superstar or he's just good or he's bad, doesn't matter. I always say with Jalen Hurts, if God forbid he gets injured, the most important player on the Philadelphia Eagles becomes Tanner McKee. That's the reality. So to me, that's not a very interesting conversation. So my definition, which I've explained on the show, is who does their particular job the best. Bill Belichick rules, I like to call it. Who does their job description the best. And that's how I kind of do it. Ed's got his own definition. Everybody's got their own definition. And that's fine. But, when you're debating people, I've always said, and I learned in debate class in college, don't debate other people's premises. First of all, it's meaningless to you as a conversation. It's not going to go anywhere, because until you agree on a premise, it's not really worthy of debate. So everybody can have their own definition. That's fine. But we try to get down. And what it tells you is more than anything else, how good this team is. You get to about 17, 18, and we're not going to give away, because it's one player a day, so we're not going to give away the entire list. But you get about to 17 or 18 players, and then there's a little bit of a drop-off from really good to then you start trying to cobble together the rest of it, which is really deep for an NFL team.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What is your takeaway from looking at it all? And we're not going to go through the whole list today. We're just going to follow along where you are on SI. But was that the takeaway from doing this exercise this year, John?
Yeah, it's just there's so many good, and I've talked about it. There's so many good players on this team. And they lost a bunch of good players in the offseason.
Right.
And they still
have. This compares to like 24 and then also 22, the 22 team, which went to the Super Bowl and was a great team as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very similar, obviously, to last year because you have the core guys returning, but you lose Milton Williams, who would certainly be on this list. Obviously, Josh Sweat would certainly be on this list. Um, Darius Slay would certainly be on this list. Isaiah Rogers would be on this list. You could debate Oren Burks, but he would probably be on the list. I mean, they lost a bunch of good players.
Yeah, they did, no doubt. Yep.
So right now, I don't think they're as good as last year, which I've said is one of the best teams of the modern generation, period. Not just best Eagles teams, one of the best teams of the modern generation. So yeah, right now, and it's an incomplete product, and I haven't even gone to training camp, and some of these young players might step up and overachieve. Some are probably going to be a little bit worse than people hope for, and that's sort of a give and take. But you have to see how some of these young players step up. The good news is in most of these positions where there's a little bit uncertainty, at least you have some upside. At least you have players with high ceilings. Whether they hit those ceilings,
Right.
that's the whole trick.
Yep, no doubt about it. We have a new featured segment here coming on JAKIB Sports. In fact, it might be a paid subscriber Patreon, and it's called John McMullen's Debate School, episode number 1. Don't argue anybody's premise. I love it, Johnny Mac. Great stuff there. Let's get into the list, man. You guys are done, I believe, 25 and 24, the first 2 that you put out over on SI. So I would assume 23 is coming out today, but we can save that for tomorrow's edition of Birds 365. So start us off, Johnny Mac. I kind of explained how this list works, where you made 25, Ed made 25, and then you combine the 2. But if you want to explain a little bit how you came to the decisions or how it all works, and then just give us that 25th player, John, on this Eagles team.
Yeah, and just to explain how we do it, if there is a tie, the tiebreaker is the highest place finish. So, in other words, somebody has the same amount of points, but he's 10th on my list, and the best he is on Ed's list is 12th.
Okay.
That and what the guy's tied with, whoever has the highest finished on either list is basically how you break the tiebreaker.
Gotcha. So if someone was 11 and 13 and there was 10 and 12 and you had the same points or something, the 10 guy would win. Got it.
So I bring that up because there was a tie at 25. And it happened between the first and the second round pick, Jihad Campbell and Drew Makuba. I had Campbell 22nd on my list. Ed didn't have him on his list. Makuba, Ed had a 22nd and I didn't have him on my list. So they both had the same exact number of points and the same finishes, just opposite.
The 2 rooks, John.
So yeah, we did have, and that's the only tie on the entire list. So 25 tied, Jihad Campbell, Drew Makuba. From my perspective, obviously Campbell's got a tremendous upside, but there's a lot of uncertainty. I don't care about the short term. Like, clearly Ed cares more about the short term. To me, he's a first round pick. He's supposed to be here for, who knows, 7, 8, 9 years if everything hits. And as people talked about, you saw how excited the Eagles were to get him. You saw all the unscripted stuff. You saw the big Fangio smile, which you never see. They think this guy is a defensive weapon. And the last time I heard that is when they signed Saquon Barkley and they called him an offensive weapon. Now, I don't want to put those standards or expectations on Jihad Campbell, but I think there's such a difference in talent between him, who probably would have been a top 15 pick had he not had shoulder surgery, and the 64th pick in the draft. To me, to me, it was pretty clear. If I'm going to put one of the rookies on there, it was going to be Jihad Campbell. Well, it doesn't matter to me if it works. Does he have to be there week 1? Why?
Yeah, right. I mean, look, imagine if we said that. I will say the Cooper DeJean pick last year, I think, helped a lot of Eagles fans with not getting overreactive about that. If we counted out Cooper DeJean because he missed training camp last year, what would that say? Guy was an
Well,
unbelievable
exactly.
player.
And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people did, to be honest, early. I think
Well, I
there's a
think there
lot of
was a period of
revisionist
time when
history.
there was doubt for sure.
Yeah. And from Bakuba's standpoint, he's on track to play week 1. He's going to get a very good opportunity. Could be a starting player. Big upside. I think he's a good fit from a trade standpoint for a Vic Fangio defense. So he's going to have an opportunity, no question about it. But that's who we had tied for 25. And, you know, that's why I picked Campbell. We'll have Ed on. He can explain at some point why he picked Makuba. But tie between the rookies, and that'll be the only tie on the list.
I gotta say, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna side with Johnny Mack on this one. I think Jihad has clearly got the talent as a player over Makuba. I don't know Makuba, John. I'm still kind of up in the air. He's the one player this year coming in where him and Ringo, but I do feel a little better about Ringo. Makuba, I'm confident in, but I don't know. I want to see it on the football field. So that's interesting though. Drew and Jihad land at 25 tied. The two rookies this year that are both expected to make an impact on the team this year.
Yeah, and and with any rookies you saw the past couple years, with Jalen Carter and last year with Cooper and Quinion, you never tend to put rookies that high on the list, but they can move up quickly. As Jalen Carter has done, as you'll see as we go on, as Quinion and Cooper have done this year. You can move up quickly. And I think it would be a disappointment if we're doing this hopefully in 2027 or 2028, whatever. But and Jihad Campbell's not a top 10 player, maybe top 5 player on the Philadelphia Eagles. That's the goal. I don't see that upside with Drew Makuba.
Yeah, I don't either. Jihad Campbell, John. At what point right now, like where in your head are you thinking he starts to make an impact on the team? Is it week 4? Is it week 8? Is it week 12? Like where in your head right now are you gauging? I know it's just a ballpark. We don't know this obviously, but where are you ballparking that Jihad Campbell comes back to make his return for the Eagles and start to play on the football field?
Well, Big has said this a lot in this off season, and I think it sort of extends to Campbell and his impact. I think it depends on others. He talked about it like, where's Cooper DeJean going to play? Well, that depends on others. Like,
right,
if Ringo falters, if Jackson falters, he might have to play outside. If somebody can play inside and they say, hey, you know what, McCoop is a great slot player, or Mac McWilliams is a great slot player. Unlikely, but then he might play safety or outside. If Makuba can't play safety or is not ready to play safety, if Sidney Brown's not ready to play safety. So it depends on other guys. Same thing. He said the same thing with Zach Bond. Is he going to play Mike or Will? Well, that depends on the other guys. When N'Kobe's there, he's the Will. But can Trotter handle the Mike? Then he'll play Will. If not, he'll play Mike. And I have a similar take with Campbell's impact. Depends on the other guys. Like, is Jalix Hunt stepped up? Is he providing a pass rush? Is Josh Uche? Is he Ojolari? Antoine Powell-Ryland, we're going to talk about him at some point. Is somebody providing pass rush? If not, they might need him more as a pass rusher. If N'Kobe Dean's not healthy and Jeremiah Trotter's not playing well, they might need him to play linebacker.
What about if they're perfect at linebacker and they're getting edge rush? I mean, it's just going to be harder for him to get on the field.
Well, I think then he gets on the field as a situational pass rusher,
right?
Which is the easiest way to sort of dip his toes into because it's easy to be a sub package player. It's easy. You're not going to rotate at linebacker if your linebackers are playing well. So, it's easier to sub package somebody as a pass rusher. So he might start as a 3rd and 10 guy. All right, let's go get another pass rusher on the field. Might be that.
Yeah,
but so it depends on the other guys, basically. with a bunch, and Vic has said that's a pretty common theme with a bunch of different players.
Where do you think he's best suited in the Vic defense?
I think he's best suited as a hybrid. I think he's best suited as, playing off ball, stack linebacker, whatever you want to call it, on first down, second down, and being a pass rusher on third down, or being at least a pass rushing threat on third down. So I think you're going to see more. It may not be till 2026, but I think you're going to see more A-gap stuff where they mug Zach Bond and Jahad Campbell over the center, and that forces the quarterback to sort of wait till post-snap to see who's coming and who's dropping. Maybe both are dropping, maybe both are coming. Right. Now, we know Vic's history. He's not going to blitz a ton. So it's more going to be that situation of, all right, who's coming, who's not coming, which is going to be new for Philadelphia. And I think they're going to like it. The best guy, and my two, I say it all the time, my two favorite defensive coordinators to watch are Vic Fangio and Brian Flores. Brian Flores is the guy who you never know who's coming. And I think it's going to be exciting for Eagles fans.
Yeah, maybe Vic adds a little bit more of that to the defense with a guy like Jahad Campbell. My only worry on him would be like if he gets stuck on the inside or he plays so well on the inside, do you lose the upside or the potential to put him at a situational pass rusher if he's playing at the inside linebacker? In theory, you would. Now they can probably shuffle some things, but maybe that would create the need for a third linebacker, which they have in Trotter, or this year they have in Dean. I don't think they'll have Dean long-term, but you see what I'm saying? Like, do they lose some of that if he becomes the inside linebacker?
Well, a little bit, but, I think if you play like an all-pro, and you saw an all-pro linebacker last year with Zach Bond, I mean, nobody's doubting the impact of Zach Bond or his playmaking ability. And he had, I don't know, he had 3.5 sacks, maybe. What do you have? 4, maybe? I don't know, but not,
So he can still be impactful, but it's a different type of impact.
Yeah, exactly. Now, again, I don't expect him to play at Zach Bond's level, but
no,
he didn't have a ton of sacks because he didn't rush the passer. The Eagles don't blitz that much. But when he did, he was impactful with it. And obviously all the forced fumbles and the pass breakups and the interceptions.
It is a dream scenario, though, to think about Vic having the ability with Bond and Campbell, if they're both in there, to confuse quarterbacks, like you just said with Flores. You never know who's coming. You give Vic Fangio that, that look on defense, that could confuse some quarterbacks big time. So good stuff there. Johnny Mac, that's 25 is Jahad Campbell and Drew Makuba, the only tie of the list. But we get 2-for-1 special to start it off. 2 players at 25, Jahad and Drew, and both of them, the Eagles rookies this year coming in. Moving in, John, you guys did 24 as well. Before we get to Jeff Kerr, I want to rattle this off. Who do you guys got? The SI top 25 player list. 24 on the list goes to who?
A returning veteran gets number 24, and I think this will surprise some people, and that's going to be Matt Pryor. And we don't even know what his role is going to be. He might be the 6th man on the offensive line. He might be the starting right guard. But I will say last year he had his best season in Chicago. For people that don't know, he basically had a career high, 15, I think, starts. He was ranked by PFF as the 21st best guard in the NFL, 21st best guard in the NFL, which is pretty good. There's 64 starters, 32 teams, 64 guards.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And that's the way he played. And I think a lot of people look at Chicago and say, well, they were a bad team, and they were a bad team. And the quarterback took a lot of sacks, but you know why the quarterback took a lot of sacks? He doesn't process. He runs around. But you look at him, and again, my description is do your job. He was one of the best right guards in football last year. Now, 77 guys were ranked. Tyler Steen was 75 and Kenyon Green was 76 last year. So you're talking about, for those saying, well, isn't Tyler Steen, he's going to be the starter. Well, the Eagles hope that.
77 were ranked. Tyler Steen was 75 and
Kenyon Green was 76.
oh.
And
All right,
Matt Pryor played, by the way, over 1,000 snaps, and most of them were at right guard. Now, the interesting part about him, he's got 4 position versatility. He can play anywhere but center. Yeah. So he's going to be part of this team.
It sounds like a no-brainer that he's going to be the starter.
Ultimately, I think he's going to be the starter. But we'll see. And I don't want to overstate it and say he's going to be Mekhi Becton, but he brings some of that size as well. He's 6'7", 330. And Jeff Stoutland has a history of liking big bodies inside. So he's bigger as well. And from the first time when he was here, he was part of that tremendous 2018 draft class, which is very small but very effective.
Yeah,
think about that draft
class, right? Yeah, 5 players.
Dallas Goedert, Avonte Maddox, Josh Sweat, Matt Pryor, Jordan Mailata. 2018, they're all still in the NFL in 2025. Think about that success rate. And they've all been good players at times. Some really good. In the case of Goddard, Sweat, and Mailata.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, I mean, Mailata could be.
Well, I'm just going in order because Jordan was the 7th round pick. Matt was the 6th round pick. Avonte and Josh both went in the 4th round. And Dallas was the 2nd round pick. But so, yeah, Matt Pryor comes in at number 24. Now I believe he was 21st on my list, and I don't have it in front of me, but Ed again did not put him on there. Ed put Tyler Steen on the bottom of his list, but he didn't make the top 25. So I can say that.
Not enough points for
yeah.
All right, John, tell me if you agree with this. This is my ceiling and floor for Matt Pryor. Ceiling, I think, is obvious. He's your starting right guard, and he plays the year, and he's a competent, good right guard like he was last year in Chicago. My floor for him is what? Swing tackle, maybe for the team, or a swing offensive lineman that they use, kind of like they used Fred Johnson last year. I mean, I think it was BLG who brought that up on the show. I forget who it was, but maybe it was even Oscar last week.
Well, we
talk about the starters we lost. We had a lot of guys in reserve roles last year who made big plays, big moments for us. We got to fill those guys in too. Is that what Tyler Steen, or what Matt Pryor could be?
Well, I think you can almost. He's a little bit more versatile than those types of guys because he can play inside and outside. Right. And he has played inside and outside. He was drafted as a tackle. He was a tackle in college at TCU. And he's proven he can play really effectively inside. So obviously, if he doesn't win the job, he's going to be the top backup at right guard. And I think he'd be the top backup. But they might do it like they did it a couple of years ago. They have a backup on the right side and a backup on the left side. And he could do both right tackle, right guard. Remember, Kendall Lamb's here is too. That they're obscenely deep on the offensive line. That is a longtime veteran left tackle who has played in this league. So they got a bunch of guys they can go to. And that doesn't even bring up the rookies. Drew Kendall, center guard versatility, Cam Williams and Miles Hinton guard tackle versatility in theory with those guys. Hinton and Williams were tackles in college, but so you're trying to develop. If you're a backup, you got to play more than one position, and Matt Pryor can play 4, so that's positive.
Yeah, that's excellent versatility for the Eagles' offensive line, and that offensive line should be pretty good. So there's your first 2 players of the top 25 list. It's really 3 players. We got a 2-for-1 at 25 with Campbell and Makuba, and then 24 coming in with Matt Pryor. It's funny to think about how good this offensive line is, John. We could have.
I counted up. There are 14 NFL players on this team that play offensive line. I think 14. And they can't keep 14. So they're going to be cutting 14. I'm going to list them. Obviously, you have the 5 projected starters.
5 projected.
We just talked about Matt Pryor and Kendall Lamb. You have Kenyon Green, who again, he struggled, but he's an NFL player. And again, when I say NFL player, I mean they belong in the league. To me, Trevor Keegan's an NFL player. We don't even talk about him anymore. The 3 rookies, to me, they're NFL players. Drew Kendall, no doubt about it. Miles Hinton, the Eagles love Miles Hinton. Cameron Williams, I think people outside the building like Cameron Williams even more than they do. I wasn't even counting. I know I wasn't even counting Holland Pierce. A number of people are high on him. Brett Toth has been here for a long time. How many is that?
That's a lot. I think you're up to 14.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
I lost track of 10.
Yeah.
It's
ridiculous how many players they have that belong in the NFL. And really, you can make that argument. A lot of people, but to me, the Holland Pierce stuff he's undrafted. That's more about
he's a little more out there. I mean,
that's more about Stoutland will do this with him.
So how big do you think the loss then of Becton is, John? Like, I know it's big. I mean, he was a damn great player, and obviously we had a historic running season last year with one of the better run blocking guards in the league, in Mekhi Becton. How big's that loss, or is it in your head? This offensive line's too deep for me to get concerned about that.
Oh, I'm not getting. I do think it's a big loss from the perspective he was a perfect fit for what they did last year. I mean, they were a run first team with a phenomenal running back, and he, I don't know. I'm sure Jeff knows if somebody does pancake blocks, he had to be near the top of the list. When he pops on, but he was just a perfect fit for that run first team. Now, if they have to be more pass heavy, as a lot of people expect, maybe it'll be less of a big deal. If they're going to do the same thing that they did last year, I think it's a big deal. You can't replace that type of physicality, and that's what they did. They bullied people. And unless you find another 6'7", 360-pound guy that's quick enough to handle what they do, I think it's a downgrade. But no, I'm not going to panic because you can't have 5 great players on the offense.
But it is a downgrade. Like, you're not thinking that offensive line's as beastly as it is.
No,
yeah, I agree. No. I agree. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. There's the first couple guys here on the top 25 list. So we'll follow them along during the whole next 20 days or whatever it is, however long it takes John and Ed to put those up. Is that what you're doing? One a day? One post a day?
One a day. Number 23 coming up today.
So we'll cover that tomorrow. And for the next 20 days or 23 days or so, we will cover that here on Birds 365. A good start to the list. A couple of names I didn't expect, which is a good thing for me. I'm going to get into some more of those guys. We got Jeff Kerr in the green room. Jeff, what's going on, brother? Let's get to our main man, Jeff Kerr, joining us now here on Birds 365. We talk to Jeff every Monday here on Birds 365. You can follow him at Jeff Kerr CBS. Read him at cbssports.com. Jeff, I was at the Phillies game last night.
Oh.
It was a great game, and it was a hot game, but they look pretty good. Jeff, how you doing on this Monday morning, brother?
Yeah, I was there all weekend, Zander. I'm glad you got to see a great game. I'm glad Phillies fans got to see a great game, but there's a lot of naysayers when it comes to this baseball team, and
I'm not there yet, Jeff. It's June, brother. It's June, man.
Yeah, but that's what I said. That's what I said. It's June 21st. Like, calm down. There's a trade deadline. Organizations meeting this week.
And the other thing is, I mean, look, people, the bullpen or this. I'm like, find me a team in the major leagues that doesn't have one thing you can look at and say, well, that needs to be better to win a World Series. I mean, come on, they got some things, but I'll tell you this: when Luzardo is on, that guy can pitch. He's streaky, but when he's on, man, he's lights out.
It's funny you mentioned that, Zander, because I tweeted going into Sunday that, look, this is a big start for him tonight. I know it's only June, but
yeah, I agree.
The guy had like a 13 ERA his last 4 starts, and I know he was tipping pitches and this and that. But like you said, when he's on, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And they were fortunate to get that last night. And it was funny because Friday I kind of knew what Sunday's lineup was going to be, and I wrote about it. People seem so shocked. Like, that was actually the lineup. And I'm like, do you guys just not pay attention, or do you not want to read? Because all the signs are there. Otto Kemp was going to play left field. All the signs are there. Buddy Kennedy was going to be first base. And people are just ripping Rob Thompson and ripping. You know what? I'm convinced.
Well, that's been going on forever, Jeff.
Go ahead, John.
You know how, especially, because, by the way, now we're June 23rd. So, it's June both ways. The Phillies won a big series against the Mets. That's always important. But it's also June from that perspective. There's a long way to go. And there's 162 teams in baseball. That's been going on forever. When you rest guys and you got to, typically Sunday, a lot of managers do it on Sunday. And they want to get their utility people in. They want to get somebody a breather, unless you're Cal Ripken. And yeah, people have been ripping managers forever for doing that. It's like, you can't just go and go and go. It's not football. You got to be measured as a baseball manager. Yeah, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating.
That's what's funny about it. Like, I try to tell people, stop treating this stuff like the Eagles. It's when you win, it's not, it's the same thing when the loss. Like, stop treating it like an Eagles loss. Stop treating it like an Eagles win. You're not a smart fan when you do that. And people are like, well, that's great. They're 47-31. How are they going to do in October? I said, I don't know what to tell you. Don't watch till October. Be a front runner. Be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
Just stay off the timeline.
Well,
just
Nick said it.
Playoffs and get hot in the playoffs. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
like anything. Tyrese Halliburton, boy, that was depressing.
I didn't watch it, obviously, because I was at the Phillies game, but man.
I mean, that's you're in a position, game 7 in the NBA finals, you're in a position, he was playing well early and he tears his Achilles. I mean, it's horrible, it's sad, it's all that stuff, but things happen in sports. And that's why we talk about, and Nick talks about sustained success, not repeat, not stuff like that, because the stars have to align to win a championship. They do. It's funny to me. Everybody in pro sports acknowledges luck plays a part into it, but they hate when you bring that word up. But they know it, but they don't want to downplay their grind and their process, which I get. But sometimes you're just at the mercy of bad luck. And that was bad luck last night for the Indiana. Perfect example of it. Now, did they win the game? Who knows? But it'll probably be more difficult for Oklahoma City. I'll say that.
That's one of the silliest debates I saw this morning when I was catching up on the game. Is the Thunder's title, should it be an asterisk?
Oh, give me a break.
No,
what?
Come on.
No.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it obviously helped them win Game 7, but that's ridiculous. They
won 68 games. They're the best team in basketball.
Come on.
And it's funny. You know where it was coming from? The New York media market. As
because they want to project that they're better than the Pacers and the
but they're not. They never were.
No, they weren't.
They were frauds too. Oh, and by the way, the only reason they won against Boston, if they want to play that game, was because Jason Tatum tore his Achilles.
That's true. Well, not they were playing better than the Celtics. Well, I give them credit. They were beating the Celtics, I think. Celtics, I'm surprised because I don't think they have a great coach, number one. But so if they're not playing well, if they don't hit their threes, that's what frustrates me about the NBA. Yeah, Oklahoma City made a bunch of threes in the third quarter. Bang, 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 bang. Game's over. Like, that's so boring to me. It's so boring to me. It's like, and then if you miss a bunch of threes like Boston did against, and because they constantly chuck up threes, and then you're screwed. You lose. I'm like, it's not a 3-point shooting contest, or it didn't used to be. Now it is.
That's all the game is now. It's funny, as someone who used to be a shooter in basketball, I've been waiting for the 3-pointer to become relevant, but it's become too relevant.
Way too relevant. Nobody can run a damn fast break. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's tough to watch. I'm not going to lie to you. It's tough to watch sometimes for me. But,
and I like how two things about this series. Well, especially Game 7. I like how the NBA and their bad media likes to cover it up and say, well, no one cares about the Pacers and the Thunder because they're small market. I'm like, that's a bunch of BS. Your product is not good. Why don't you just call a spade a spade? And two, if I got to hear how great of a GM Sam Presti is for literally doing what Sam Hinkie and the Sixers did for years.
That I'm going to disagree with you.
No, they literally did the same thing. The NBA just let them do it.
They did it a lot better.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
they were allowed to finish it. Silver didn't intervene. That's why I can't stand Silver.
Jeb Kerr, it's easy to rip something down. It's not easy to build something back up. Anybody can rip something down.
Demo, baby.
The Sixers' developmental process has been horrible. But
when you don't get the opportunity.
What do you mean they don't get the opportunity? They did it for years. That's the one thing about.
They fired it. They literally forced the GM out halfway through the thing.
They did.
Yeah, I don't even know if it worked, and I don't think it was going to work.
It wasn't going to work.
That was my issue.
Here's the thing, and this is what all Sam Hinkie and his acolytes, and I've talked about Mike Gill for years, and he got me on a tangent, but the fact that he believed that he could do that open-ended for 8, 9, 10 years, whatever, until it worked is childish. I don't care if he was promised
and I agree with that.
I don't care if he's promised it. You have to have enough savvy to understand the weight of the public relations part of it, and the fact that the NBA commissioner had to step in and say, you're embarrassing this profession, you're embarrassing this league, is not a positive for the Sam Hinkie supporters. It's absurd that he had to step in.
Well, my issue is they allowed Presti to do it. That's what I don't understand.
They did not allow Presti to do it. They've allowed, and by the way, I don't agree with tanking at all. It's antithetical to sports in general, where you're supposed to, especially you're a youth coach. What do you teach your youth?
Yeah, I agree.
I teach them the wins. See, I agree with John there. I wasn't all pro tanking, but I'm like, all right, let's see if this thing works. It did look like it wasn't going to, but again, never got to see the whole thing through. So I don't know.
Yeah. Now, I mean, professional sports are sports in its purest form, John. I would agree. You can't teach that. But when you add money and
I do
business
believe
and all those
this
things,
is the
I
problem.
understand it, but
yeah, I do believe this is the problem with the NBA. The fact that you even have to resort to tanking to kind of be relevant.
Well, you don't have to anymore. Presti, where was the MVP drafted? Where's SGA drafted?
He was drafted by the Clippers.
But what number?
What was he, 12?
About there.
Yeah.
The Boston Celtics never tanked.
They kind of did.
No, they didn't really.
They traded their assets.
He was the 11th overall pick, and he's developed into an MVP. Now, from the Sam Hinkie people, 11th pick in the NBA draft is not valuable, or was not at that time. You can't find a great player at 11.
What bothers me about the Hinkie thing was, and again, Boston did the same thing the same time he did. But Boston had more of a reason to do it because their assets were a lot older. It was Pierce and Garnett. And the Nets are stupid. But you had Drew Holiday, who was a good player.
Yeah.
And was developing.
Right. By the way,
you had two players.
But those morons, led by a certain moron on the radio, I got retweet Armageddon, whatever they did, the weirdos, because I covered the Sixers at that time. I covered Drew Holiday. I said, I think Drew Holiday has a chance to be a meaningful piece on a championship team. I thought he was a really good player.
Were right.
Great defender. To say I was right is he's won gold medals. He's won NBA championships. Where are they? Where are the retweet Armageddon people? And then you bring up
their narrative.
Yeah. Jalen Williams, who's their second best player on the Thunder, was the 12th
he's
pick.
Good.
12th pick. Again, you could actually draft people and develop people. And the Sixers have done it to a degree with Tyrese Maxey. Who knows with the young kid who got hurt last year, McCain, is it McCain or McClain? I was good.
Yeah, Jerry McCain. But by the way, he's pretty good.
He was good last year, but so many things. And by the way, I always point this out to Mike Gill. Nobody has hired Sam Hinkie. What does that tell you?
Do you think he was blackballed?
No, he's not blackballed. He's an idiot. He did a 13-page manifesto.
Now that was crazy.
Ripping the fucking people that let him lose for 5 years. And he did a 13-page manifesto. Anytime you see a lunatic in this country, what do they call it when they have their writings? They call it a manifesto. That's what they called Sam Hinkie's nutty, and he never got hired again. Well, I mean, that is your answer. He never got hired again.
J-Mac, I did not know you were this much of a Sam Hinkie hater.
I've heard John in the Eagles locker room.
Oh, man.
It's very entertaining.
The fact that those people still exist and they still make excuses, oh, it would have worked. Not with that idiot.
I think what bothers me about this whole, since we are on the Sixers tangent right now, and they do draft this week, by the way. What everybody can't stand Daryl Morey. I wish they would have had Daryl Morey in like 17 and 18 instead of now.
Well, because he does draft better than they drafted then. They had some awful.
That's why I actually have confidence they might get it right on Wednesday.
I mean,
I don't have much confidence.
As dumb as he was, but
I mean,
they did have some opportunity to draft good players that they just missed every time.
Yeah, well, and I don't even like to play that game because Jaleel Okafor, somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, Okafor.
To me, I think the whole problem with Sam Hinkie is he did not believe that you could develop players. It was either you get the superstar or you don't. In the case of Joel Embiid, it worked to a certain degree. He's certainly a superstar. He's certainly a superstar talent, but he has all these other issues.
But that could be from the culture he was derived in.
Exactly.
He got here.
Exactly. The late great Andy Jasner had told me, because I had stopped covering the Sixers by the time Hinkie got there. Told me early in the process, he had a bunch of foot problems. He had a bunch of lower leg problems. Joel Embiid, I'm talking about. And he used to sort of not practice, but he used to shoot around with bare feet. And everybody was afraid to tell him, dude, what are you doing? It's like, how do you run an organization like that? So I don't believe for 1 second that they would have been successful if Adam Silver didn't step in, which a lot of people, and that, since then it's been a bad organization as well. But you see the reverberations in a negative fashion from Sam Hinkie still today. Culture, things like that. I don't know what's going on with Ace Bailey.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
That's all I gotta say about it.
J-Mac, case closed. You just obliterated Sam Hinkie and did it successfully, I think.
That's why I get so upset when people when you cover the Phillies, everybody says they're a badly run organization. I'm like, first off, that's so far from the truth. I'm like, you want to see a badly run organization? I just want to point people to John and when he covered the Sixers.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, they were better. When Doug Collins was here, and they had some good teams.
I was a big Doug Collins guy.
Me too.
When they had the run and they got lucky, Derrick Rose got hurt, Joakim Noah got hurt, and they were able to beat a very good team in the playoffs. And they went to they played, if you remember, they played the Celtics, who are a much better team. LaVoy Allen was
playing with 7 games. I was at game 6. I was like, wow, this team's going to take Boston 7 games. Like, they're going to have an opportunity. And it is funny, like, the Embiid team, that team played harder than Embiid and Harden did in Boston.
Oh, God, yeah. That was a fun team to cover. And then they made the Bonham trade. And it's funny because the last thing I did covering the NBA was the press conference at the Constitution Center. And everybody was really excited about Andrew Bonham, who was a great player. and he was just done from a physical standpoint. So, that's probably more the medical staff's problem than the Sixers' problem. And once that didn't work, they just gave up. And it's like, ugh.
I felt so bad for Iguodala when he got traded because he put up with so much BS.
And there's another guy.
Actually,
he really did. And how many championships did he end up winning? But obviously was not. Yeah, it was not a star. He was not a number one star. But people got in this, and that's what I'd like. The only thing I like about the modern NBA is now these teams, Oklahoma City and Indiana, proved you don't have to tank to get a superstar. You can actually build a team.
Halliburton's 12.
Build a team.
I mean, look, if the Sixers would ever happen to win a title, people are going to be like, oh, Tyrese Maxey was 20. Jerry McCain was 16.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to look at that.
Yeah. And, develop those guys, continue to develop those guys and stop drafting, stop trading for injured old players. And, Embiid, you got to probably move on. I just remember
a week into this season, and remember the Sixers season was a disaster. They asked Nurse why he was playing McCain because, quite honestly, because he deserves it. He's developed, and they were confident. He didn't play opening night. He didn't play a second game, but played third game. He had 20 points, and I don't think he ever rode the pine since until he got hurt.
But I guarantee, and unfortunately, it's going to happen in this lunatic country. But the next time some serial killer pops up, or that idiot in Minnesota who's assassinating politicians, they're all looking for manifestos. Every single one of them. And Sam Hinkie, can you give another example of an executive writing a 13-page letter?
Nope, I cannot.
It's absurd. Never got hired again. That's the reason.
Not even how he would write a 13-page manifesto when he gives it up.
Oh, well, he's not a dumb person.
Now compare that to the way that the Eagles are run right now. It's like insane that those two teams are in the same city.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of that, since people are going to get mad, I'm glad. Good segue. Kendall Lamb, who is, and I'm trying to get the quote up because I didn't even see it. It was our buddy Alan Poupard in Miami because he used to play with the Dolphins, Kendall Lamb. And obviously he's a longtime veteran player. He's been in the NFL for a long time. So it's not just the Dolphins. So evidently he did an interview, which I didn't see, but it was with the ESPN. And he said, I understand why the Eagles reached 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. Players are never late, never toxic. And after every practice, the room spends 15 minutes sharing personal struggles to stay mentally sharp, something I never got with the Dolphins. Sometimes it takes somebody from outside to come inside, and it could be good, it could be bad, to highlight what's going on. That struck me as look at this. You play in the NFL as long as Kendall Lamb, and you get to Philadelphia. He started in 2015 in Houston. He's been to Cleveland, Tennessee, Detroit, Miami, now the Eagles.
He's been around.
Yeah. And he's saying that about the Eagles. I think that really highlights the strength of what Nick Sirianni has built here.
John, it's funny. Teams could try to emulate that, but unless you're getting Nick Sirianni, it's probably not going to work.
I don't think he gets enough credit. I'll say that. And whatever he got, which I'm pretty sure he didn't get what Andy got, but he should be the highest paid coach in the NFL. But, players are never late, never toxic.
It's like a Charlie Manuel Phillies vibe to it. It's like he's got the simplest rules ever, but they work.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And but it's not something you can measure. So I think people dismiss it.
By the way, I found out something very interesting about the Philadelphia Eagle, what that pertains to Philadelphia Eagles that's going on this weekend. Jahad Campbell's going to play in Devontae Smith's softball game.
Yeah, he was doing some. I hope he doesn't hurt his shoulder.
That's what I'm
Oh
saying.
gosh, when is that softball game?
Saturday.
Oh, coming up. Wow, this weekend. All right.
Yeah, Ryan Howard's going to be playing.
Should be a
Terrell
hot
Owens.
one.
It's going to be a hot one. Saquon's going to be playing. It's going to be a fun time Saturday.
Did they ever figure out the credentials?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
We
All
haven't.
right, you'll be there. I'm not making the trek down in town.
Yeah,
you'll be there. I think
Ed and I are both going to be there.
Yeah, I think Ed's going. Yeah, it's a good time though. If you're up that way. I remember when Carson did his softball game here at Citizens Bank Park, it was always a lot of fun. It's easier for me to get to Citizens Bank Park, so I would always go to that. That's where I learned that Jake Elliott was a hell of a softball player, and Richard Rodgers maybe was the best softball player in Eagles history.
I felt like he was on the Eagles a lot longer than he was.
Well, we was here like 3 times. They kept bringing him back. But he was a hell of a baseball player. AJ's a hell of a baseball player.
Yeah, he is. I don't think AJ's playing this year. They sent me the roster, but I don't remember seeing him on it.
I think Isaiah Rodgers won the home run derby last year.
Yeah, he'll be back. Right? Yeah, I'll be excited to talk to him. The funny thing is how bad Saquon is.
Yeah, he's not good.
He comes every year, and they make jokes about it, and yeah, I know Jalen's been very charismatic, to say the least, when it comes to Saquon Barkley's baseball skill. I still say the pieces were in place for him to come to Philadelphia long before they came to Philadelphia. And one of the reasons was that softball game.
Yeah, Mike will probably be there.
Mike is there every year. He loves it.
Yeah.
And like
maybe the pieces are in place.
Yeah. Mike is hilarious. Like he tells Eagles fans to boo him all the time. He said, "Y'all be cheering for." I remember he grabbed the mic one time because y'all be cheering for me in a few years. The Cowboys fans did not like that.
How quickly would this fan base turn if they got Micah Parsons?
Yeah. I just love how Micah just always drops like those funny things. Like, he wears Phillies jerseys. He wears Sixers
That would be a
jerseys.
Turn for the century, though, John. That'd
be like the greatest wrestling turn of
Twitter
of
would be like
time.
a party for like a week. It would be so funny to watch and read.
Yeah.
I'd be right there with him. So I'm not saying nothing. I would be pumped.
It's a shame too with Micah because he's going to get a bunch of contract questions on Saturday. If people get the talk. I don't think he's going to make himself available.
I think he's a great player. I still don't think he's generational. You two both tell me he's generational. I still don't think he's generational, but I do think he's a damn.
Well, I don't like that. I don't think I've used that term because I hate that term. Generational. To me, it means once in a generation. Well, it should mean. But I've acknowledged he's like when the Eagles talk about him, they're in awe of him. So when that holds a lot of weight with me. Like I always said, Nick said, think about the Eagles' offensive line. And what Nick Sirianni says about Micah Parsons, if you can't block them, read them, which means they can't block them, so they read them. And they can't block them with Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata.
Lane loves to talk about Micah Parsons, too.
Yeah.
Get him down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, Lane, acknowledges how good he is. But yeah, he's a great player. And Eagles fans would be very, very excited if they got to see him play on a weekly basis.
Like, honestly, that would be kind of like T.O. coming here, I think, when T.O. came here. It'd have that impact.
Definitely have a big impact. You wouldn't be talking about edge rusher. I guarantee you that.
I still say to this day, I don't think I've ever seen a player come here. And AJ, keep in mind, AJ Brown's been really good here. But outside of Saquon, I don't think there's been like that hype of an impact since T.O. Like, even when Saquon was here, people were skeptic.
You're talking about flashiness? Because I think AJ is better than T.O. How about that?
I do.
Wow.
I do too, in a sense. I do. Like but
I'm going to need you to elaborate on that one a little bit more. You, from a skill set standpoint, what are you looking at there, John, with T.O.
From
versus
an
AJ?
everything. You know, one thing about T.O., who's a phenomenal player, Hall of Fame player, don't get me wrong. But I think
should be a first
AJ's,
ballot Hall of Famer, but I digress.
AJ's on that trajectory. I don't care about first ballot, second ballot, but you know, sometimes there's a log jam in the with football. Sometimes, you know, so he made a big thing about that. He's a Hall of Fame player. To me, that's all that matters. But you know, he dropped the football quite a bit.
He always had drop problems.
Yeah. AJ doesn't drop the damn football. AJ's better. Now, again, these things don't matter, but AJ's a better blocker. He's a better teammate. He's better.
Speaking of T.O. drop problems, I was watching Eagles Cowboys from 06 a couple of weeks ago. And I remember T.O. didn't have a catch in the first half. And, like, Bledsoe targets him. It's just an easy slant. And I don't know if T.O. heard footsteps or what, because Dawkins was coming. And he just straight up dropped it. Like, basic pass.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, you could do that. You can't do that now. So it's a little bit easier for receivers now. They don't have to worry about as many footsteps.
Yeah.
But hey, he dropped the ball quite a bit.
I think he led the league in drops once.
AJ doesn't drop the football. I'm just saying. I think a lot of people don't recognize that, but I think he's better.
Zander's probably still too young for this, but I just remember the Eagles were so bad at wide receiver for so many years.
Well, and that's part of it too. They were so bad.
And then they got him. Yeah.
The same thing happened with Devontae and AJ this time.
Yeah.
Devontae first, but
that just sort of like naturally grew over the years though. Like you drafted Devontae and then you got AJ, and all of a sudden, like you got the best wide receiver doing the NFL, essentially.
Yeah. And he's still got, you know, he's still young. He's still got, you know, T.O. did it for a long time. So longevity comes into it. But I'm saying he's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown has about 4 or 5 more years of this, which he probably will.
I mean, when all is said and done, I think people are going to recognize it.
I mean, A.J. Brown's really good. I mean, and I think it's fair we listed top 5 receivers in football. He's in that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, PFF had him number 1.
Well, you don't drop the football, like you said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you give me the top 3 guys. Jeff, you could take your pick. I'm happy with the other guy. John, take your pick. I'm happy with the other. That's how I feel about the top 3.
I mean, yeah,
that's how I am.
Yeah, I mean, Jefferson, Chase, AJ. Yeah. I'm good with any of them. I mean, come on. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with people who think Chase is the best receiver in football. I'm not going to argue people who think Jefferson is. But I'm not going to argue people who think Brown is. I mean, they're all, to me, that's all that matters. They're all in the conversation. And then it's about, all right, what's your favorite flavor? You know.
Yeah, vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go crazy, you know, what's mint chocolate chip?
Speaking of, we were doing that last week, Jeff. I don't think we asked you. What's your biggest, if you do positional groups, give me the best position group on this team and the worst position group on this team?
That's a good question.
I think best is easy, but that's me.
Well, are we being specific with tackles, or are we going offensive line?
No, offensive line.
Yeah, okay, then I'll say offensive line.
Yeah,
like I know we were going specific with worst. Oh man,
this is interesting.
Pass rusher?
Yeah, I would say
that's where I went, Jeff.
I don't disagree. By the way,
most go edge rusher, but I think they have more upside at edge rusher. Not that it's great, but I think there's more options.
On paper, it doesn't look sexy.
Yeah, safety though, I'm a little concerned with safety. I'm a little concerned. Outside Reed, I have no concerns over Reed Blankenship.
They're putting a lot of stock in Makuba.
A lot of stock.
I'm not crazy
64th pick in the draft. Jeff? Is that too much to expect?
Yes, I do.
I mean, I would say is it too much stock, but there's so many. There's still guys on the market. So if you get to camp and Makuba stinks, Sidney Brown stinks, they're going to go and sign Justin Simmons. And if they do sign Justin Simmons,
they probably should sign Justin Simmons.
Know exactly what Fangio thought of the two guys at training camp. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory.
I mean, honestly, they probably should sign Justin Simmons before training camp. Just to have him compete.
Well, I think they want to see if the guys that they feel like the guys are going to be good enough to play. I mean, I don't want to rush to a 32-year-old.
Yeah, the problem is signing him now is you're almost highlighting, all right, he's going to be the starter. I don't like that. I do want them to have the opportunity, and it's a little bit of a gamble because at some point Simmons might say, all right, I got to sign somewhere else, and he might lose out. But I'm not just bringing him in to bring him in. I need to see if these guys can play.
You know, it's funny. I like Andrew Makuba too. I think he's part of the problem with draft Twitter and the draft people. And it's not just Andrew Makuba. It's like this is around the league. People love to overhype rookies.
Oh yeah.
To the upteenth degree to prove that they're right. I'm like, Andrew Makuba may be a good player in 3 years. That doesn't mean he's going to be a good player in 2025.
Well, again, and last year I think Quinyon and Cooper broke people a little bit. Like, all right, well they did it, so why can't
this guy
so and so do it?
We've had multiple years than just Quinyon and Cooper. I know they're both secondary players, but Devontae Smith had almost 1,000 yards year one. Jalen Carter, obviously, what he was. Now you had the Nolan Smiths, you had Jordan Davises, but there has been a lot of players that hit early in Philly.
But I mean, Davis was a fine contributor his rookie year. He wasn't.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean though. Every guy that we've picked in the first 2 rounds.
Well, to me, you know,
like everybody's an impact.
Carter and Devontae were top 10 picks.
Sure, way different.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew Makuba 64.
Yeah. Yeah, but you got Landon Dickerson. You got who's the guy that we just talked about was taken at the top of the second, not Landon, John, that we compared to Makuba a little bit. Juergens, maybe. Juergens was taken. Cooper DeJean was taken at the top of the second round.
Yeah, they traded up to get Cooper was 40, I think.
Yeah, Cooper was 40.
Yeah,
but a lot of those guys you mentioned too, like Landon was probably going to be a first round pick.
Yeah, he was going to be a first.
He was, but he wasn't, you know.
Yeah, for some reason, Cooper wasn't. I still can't fathom that one, but you know, it is what it is.
I think that was more the way the board fell than anything, but
I think it was too. It was just one of those.
I mean, you guys remember we were part of the conversation pre-draft was, oh, if Quinyon and all the corners are gone, we'd all be happy with Cooper DeJean at 22.
Ended up getting
23. Both. Yeah, we ended up getting both.
I think the Eagles would have been happy, to be honest. But yeah, with Cooper, I think part of it is that and part of it still today, nobody believes he can be an outside corner. And we all know why.
For multiple reasons.
Yeah. Well, really one reason. And as silly as it sounds, yeah, I mean, that stuff's real. And cost a lot of teams because he's a hell of a football player. I'm a little concerned about his offseason. I'll be honest with that.
He's in the spotlight a little too much.
A little too much. You don't have to go to every bar, Cooper.
Yeah, he's been. Let me tell you, Cooper DeJean. He's 22, John.
I feel like the guy can't say no. That's what I think it is.
Well, I think he went to Iowa for college. I don't know how much fun. I'm sure they have some fun in Iowa.
Oh, they have fun in Iowa. Trust me.
He comes in a big city, Philly, though, John. He's a star, John. Being a star in Iowa. He's a
bigger star in Iowa than he is here. And he's a big star
magnitude? Here. How's the magnitude of that?
Well, sometimes being a big fish in the small pond.
That's true. It's like a Cat 1 hurricane out there, though. Over here, it's like Cat 5 or whatever the top one is.
I have to laugh like with him and Reed and their exciting mics, whatever it is. And I was just like, another podcast? Like, other people like just listen to podcasts all day long.
Well, here we are, Jeff, 5 years deep on Birds 365 talking football in June, brother. I mean, I'm not one to crap on people listening to podcasts. That's
I'm just telling you, I can't do it. Like I don't know how these content creators just listen to podcasts
Really, I
all
listen
day
to a
long.
lot of content. I do listen. I don't
I
listen to a
can't.
lot of sports content because I make so much sports content. And
I don't-
Yeah,
listen
well,
to
you're in the business though. I
yeah,
think it's a little
right.
different.
So, but I do listen to a lot of content.
I had to look it up because I was the old relative athletic score from Kent Lee Platts. So the math bomb guy, Cooper DeJean, ranked 28th out of 2,469 cornerbacks drafted from 1987 to 2024
And he wasn't a first round pick.
on an athleticism scale, and a trait scale. And the only thing he didn't do to a ridiculously high level was the bench press, which he did 16, which is still decent for a defensive back. And his broad jump was above average, not phenomenal. Everything else just off the charts. And everybody's seen his basketball highlights.
No, he's really good at that too.
Yeah. Like, how could you say that guy's not explosive? But people don't believe he can play outside corner.
Jason Sehorn could.
Yeah.
And he's probably better than him, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, I know the Eagles like him.
It's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's last year, John, I think you and I talked about this. Like, you could see Cooper DeJean was going to help this team this year in a big way, or last year. I don't get that feeling of Andrew McCuba. I don't know.
I don't either, Jeff. I'm with you. I'm not going to lie to people.
I like Makuba, but
do you like him at 25? I think that's where I'm going with this.
And right now, Jeff, you're not wrong to bring that up because it's between him or Brown, Sidney Brown. I mean, to be the starter next to Reed Blankenship.
I think the Red Star is waned on Sidney Brown.
Well, don't count out Tristan. Vic brought him up.
Yep. You know
what?
He did play him last year.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was Tristan.
I wouldn't either.
I like Tristan too.
Last year, when Vic needed a safety, he went to Tristan McCullum. Now, I know Sidney was this or he had an injury or whatever. That's what he went to. Now, I don't know. Make of that what you will, but I think that means something.
Well, I did know that Sidney was not healthy. So he did, but part of the reason why, and Vic, by the way, said it when he talked to us. I can try to pull up his quote about Sidney Brown. But he was not like, I think people assume like every rehab goes the exact same way. Like, he didn't have a great rehab. So you can blame that on the surgery, whatever.
Because it was a pretty nasty injury too.
Yeah, because he's a great athlete. Like, nobody's questioning Sidney Brown's athleticism. So he's not like the type of guy that's going to struggle with rehab unless there's something going on physically. And I think, by the way, he had a cleanup surgery after he had 2 surgeries. So something went wrong.
And he said the second one was a definite setback.
So I think a lot of people don't realize that. So here's what Vic said. Well, his experience came in 2023, not 2024. Last year at this time, he wasn't doing anything and didn't do anything really until the middle of October. And we all know with Vic, a hamstring injury in training camp set Cooper back 6 weeks. So he lost all this time of year, training camp, early part of the season, never really got many reps with us defensively. He did play in the last game against the Giants and did fine, but it's a new system that he had in 2023. It is and it isn't, but it is.
He was the centerpiece of the fight against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That's very hurt.
So yes, he's sitting in meetings, but that only goes so far. You've got to get out there and experience and build on it. And he lost that last year, so he's going through that process now, and he's doing fine. So I wouldn't say it was a stamp of approval, but he also kind of intimated what I've been saying here. He was not healthy last year, and maybe he would have picked Tristan McCullum anyway, because I don't know if he's a fit for what Vic likes to do, but the health was a big part of it. Big part of it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, what do you think his long term is here then? Do you guys think Sidney Brown is, because I was thinking about this, and me and John were talking about paying Reed Blankenship last week. Jeff just had a Reed Blankenship segment, and I'm like, are we thinking about this wrong? Are they looking at Sidney Brown and Makuba as the future, and they're not going to pay Reed? I mean, let's be real. I love Reed, but they do have a lot of guys to pay on defense that are probably better than Reed. I know Reed is a big impact and an important part of the defense, but I wondered if we're looking at it wrong. Maybe it's Sidney and Drew in the future.
And they have shown their reluctance to pay safeties.
Yeah.
I mean, they paid
they
one.
Just traded Gardner Johnson's contract by all means was a very cost-effective, team-friendly deal.
By the way, some Eagles fans did not like I put C.J. Gardner-Johnson on my quarter-century team.
I don't think I like that either. What do you mean you put him on your quarter-century team?
Can you name me 4 better safeties that
for the
here?
Eagles? For the Eagles
since 2000.
Okay.
Yeah. For the Eagles.
I for a second there, I thought you were talking about like a NFL quarter-century team. What the actual hell are you talking about? No, all right. Yeah, probably. I mean,
Dawkins.
Who'd you have?
It was Dawkins. See, I gotta remember who I had.
Dawkins, Malcolm.
Yeah, Dawkins, Malcolm were the obvious 2. CJ. Who else did I put on there? Oh, Rodney McLeod.
I think Rodney McLeod I like.
Yeah, it was CJ's better than Rodney.
Yeah, I know he's better than Rodney. Yeah,
Rodney's Rodney.
But I put Rodney on there because Rodney did have a lot of really good years here.
Yeah, he did. He's a very good player. But certainly a better teammate, I would say. Certainly not a headache, but
this wasn't the all headache team because Dio made it. So
yeah, I mean, CJ, I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy played here 2 years that he had 12 interceptions. He led the league the first time and he missed 5 games. Tied for the league lead. They won 2 NFC championships and a Super Bowl. Now, I'm not going to, obviously, he likes to point to that and say he's the reason why. He's not the reason they won the Super Bowl.
Not the reason, but he definitely helped.
Yeah, he definitely helped.
Quentin Michael was my other one, by the way. I did a duel with Quentin Michael because he was really good at special teams here.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to look.
That's not that egregious that you put him on there.
No, but people.
If someone went another direction, I could see it, but it doesn't bother me.
I didn't argue with too many people on this one. I omitted Goddard. I put Chad Lewis on there instead of him, and people were like, "How can you do that? Chad Lewis wasn't even good." I'm like, you probably don't even remember when Chad Lewis played here. He literally was the only not wide receiver, the only pass catcher Donovan McNabb had for like 4 years. It was bad.
What do you think McNabb would be with this receiving corps?
An all-pro.
An offensive line.
Pretty much, like, he'd be everything he was and more. Like, people don't realize, like, Donovan McNabb played with absolute shit for a lot of
shit.
Like,
I love McNabb, but I'm not like a McNabb defender to the day. I'm not like that type of guy. He did not.
Well, yeah. Like McNabb's best years, they had nothing, and then he got to you. But again, because Tio manipulated everybody to think like, oh, I tried really hard. Tio, you came back for one person. You.
Yeah, but isn't there an art to being able to handle that Donovan failed?
Well, no, Donovan failed. Donovan failed too. Like that's
what Jalen. But how would Donovan have handled what Saquon did last year?
Donovan, I don't think Donovan would have cared
I don't know. That's where I think Jalen is a special.
Well,
is a special type of player.
Donovan couldn't carry Jalen's shot.
2903, and everybody's gonna, whatever. Say it. I'm carried. I don't care. Just win the game. Just win it. Let's go and win the Super Bowl. I don't know if McNabb would do that.
Donovan's biggest issue was I don't think he stepped up for his teammates as much as he probably should have. And I think he should have stepped up for T.O.
Well, that's why I give Nick Sirianni so much credit. Like, you got a lot of superstars on this team. And occasionally you see it with AJ, and there's some angst. But for the most part, like, everybody's in line. Nobody's toxic. Like Kendall Lamb said. And you saw it. I mean, those were very good teams. I think Donovan McNabb, when you consider his impact on the game as well, and I've said this with Randall Cunningham too, he's a borderline Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
that's how good he was.
I mean, Donovan finished second MVP voting. Everybody goes, Jalen was a runner-up. I'm like, so was Donovan.
Yeah, he's a very good player. If he won one, he's probably a Hall of Famer. But you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if he wins a Super Bowl, he's probably a Hall of Famer.
Well, that's what I mean. If he wins one, he's a Hall of Famer. To me, it shouldn't matter. If you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
And his impact on the game as well, more so Randall, but Donovan in the same conversation about changing and how the quarterback position is played now versus how it was played previously.
They forced Donovan to throw. I think today it'd be very encouraged for Donovan. Hey, buddy, you just ran for 600 yards in the season. Why don't you keep doing it? You don't need to gain this weight.
Exactly.
It sucks. I always hated it.
So, but yeah, I don't think he was the leader that Jalen Hurts is. But I don't think there's few people that are, to be honest.
Yeah, Jalen was kind of groomed in that. Like, Donovan always had to carry a team.
It's a big thing, though. I mean, that goes a long way, being able to lead like the way Jalen.
But you got to remember, the football was a lot different 25 years ago. Like, the quarterback was always the guy, and it didn't matter if you were a leader or not. You were the guy, and for years that was Donovan's team. It just was, and Andy made sure of that.
They made the playoffs in 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 6.
And they went
9.
And they went deep in the playoffs a lot of years.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of consistency.
Yeah. I still say the big divide was, I don't think T.O. really likes that Donovan said the whole, I'm captain of the ship, trying to rally his team when they lost T.O. I'm captain of the ship. We're good enough to get there. And if he comes back, great. Like, that's pretty much what he said.
What are you supposed to? Well, that's like CJ. When Slay says, well, Reed's the leader, because he calls the signals and gets everybody lined up, and Vic already said it, and he gets upset by that.
Yeah.
Well, that's CJ's problem. I mean, it's reality. What do you expect the quarterback to say when you're playing? What do you expect people to say? Oh, woe is me. We don't have T.O. No. What does the quarterback say?
We're gonna right.
Yeah. And like, like I could go through that 05 off season like there's no tomorrow. I got really, really upset. And it ended up being true. But you still get you don't say that. I wasn't the one who threw up in the Super Bowl. You do not say that. Period. I don't care. Like, that's not a good teammate. I'm sorry. You just don't call out your quarterback like that.
A lot of guys throw up, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, in Jacksonville. McNabb threw up in Jacksonville long before that. He threw up in Jacksonville in 2002. People forget that.
I covered Robert Smith. He would throw up every week.
Yeah. And I think that pushed Donovan over the edge. He goes, well, now I ain't helping you.
Remember when Mekhi Becton threw up in training camp last year?
Yeah. We're like, and remember,
most
he got mad when we asked him about it.
Yeah, most people forget because he went on to have a great season. Like, who cares?
Exactly. It's like, okay, so he threw up.
Some people have weak stomachs and they throw up all the time.
Didn't have a great Super Bowl. Well, guess what? Near to Brian Dawkins. Brian Dawkins missed a lot of tackles in that Super Bowl. He was not in position a lot. People don't want to admit that. Hugh Douglas was older, did not have a good Super Bowl. A lot of great players on that team did not have a good Super Bowl. T.O. did. So T.O. liked to use that. Oh, I had a great Super Bowl. I was on one leg.
I'm telling you, I say it all the time. Jim Schwartz is still pissed off about Super Bowl 52.
Yeah. And there were a lot of memorable moments for that defense in that Super Bowl, but there were a lot of misreads and a lot of blown coverage assignments.
Yeah. The only difference between 52 and 57 is the Eagles won.
Yep.
You know, arguably the 52 defense was worse than the 57 defense in the game.
It's kind of crazy to think about. In the Eagles' last 3 Super Bowls, they scored 41, 35, and 40. That's nuts.
The difference, though, in the defense, John, was that the defense, as bad as they were, giving up 500 yards, they made the play.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. And if CJ or Slay makes a play at the end, same thing. So it changes the whole thing.
I mean,
changes the whole thing. That's why I bring up the Matthew Stafford play. Changes the whole offseason.
Yep.
We don't even talk about what we'd be talking about every day if Jalen Carter doesn't get home on that play. We'd be talking about it every single day of this offseason.
You know, there are some people that still talk
and now
about
we never talk about it.
It's true.
There are some people still talking about Jalen Hurts' fumble from the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Which didn't matter.
Yeah. Which
Kansas City, it might have, because they thought that was the difference. But that's
I don't sit here and say they lost.
But I'll say this too.
Hurts, but anytime you make a swing of, what was that, a 14-point swing or a 10-point swing? Because the Eagles were charging.
Well, they were driving.
Well, I'll say this too, and I've noticed this.
Too, so. It was a big play in the game, but you had 2+ quarters to play.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, but that's still.
I'm talking about the match people who said,
right. It wasn't like a final minute play where it iced the game. No, not at all. Yeah.
I'll just say this too, for like this, because there's so many Jalen Hurts detractors out there. I don't see a lot of that out of Kansas City. I think they respect the hell out of that guy.
Oh yeah,
it's the fan base that don't have those champions.
Well, I don't think there's many people in the league that disrespect Jalen Hurts. There might be fans.
Oh, fans do. Well, fans are idiots. They're idiots, and they are.
I mean, have you ever had a Birds 365 segment where you didn't absolutely obliterate fans?
Well, fans.
John loves it. John's favorite thing.
They need to be smarter. I'm serious. Like social media has made them dumber. They really have.
Well, no, social media is just giving a voice to the dumb.
I love Eagles fans. I love how passionate they are. I grew up as one, but I'm very realistic. Like, I'm at the Phillies game last night, and I'm literally hearing the stupidest comments from the stupidest people. I'm like, I turned around and I said, shut up and watch the game. Yeah. My God. No one cares.
Jeff takes some of the heat off of me. I mean, it is that, if you're a fan and you think Jalen Hurts stinks, you're a stupid fan, as Jeff just said.
Eagles fans don't think he's stupid, but there are a lot of fans that think he stinks.
There are some. Obviously, there's very few in Philadelphia. And in the case of now, they don't think there's a group that thinks it's blasphemy to impart any constructive criticism, which is absurd as well.
That's absurd of any human being anywhere.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways, but the fans outside of Philadelphia who are just jealous of the Eagles' success.
Yeah, that's what they like to do. I'm like, did you say the same about Kurt Warner?
Like, all you got to do is listen to Spags talk about him. It's like, we did everything right, and then he's, gashing you on the ground. It's like, what do you do?
Yeah, he ran for 72 yards in the Super Bowl after he ran for 70 in the first one.
Yeah. So I think
but by definition, like, what's a fan? A fanatic, a fan of fan.
Fan is short. Fan is short.
Right. I mean, I think you guys just have a problem with people being fanatics.
I want people to be rational.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's fine. But that's what a fan is, Jeff. Like, some fans are different than others. I agree.
Perfect example. Watching Phillies Mets from the stands last night, right? There's a Mets fan there. When Sosa got picked off second, this is the first thing that comes out of the guy's mouth. You'll hear, caught in napping. And I'm like, he wasn't caught napping. Why don't you actually give credit to your pitcher for having a good pickoff move?
That was a good pickoff, dude. That was
that's what I said. Like, why do you have to go like this route. Like, you could have said, oh, what an awesome move by Peterson, because it was.
Yeah, it
Like,
was.
you can't even give your own team that you root for credit for doing something good.
By the way,
Well,
that was a bomb by Sosa later in the game.
let's be honest. Most people don't know what they're watching.
Well, that's the issue. They don't know what they're watching.
And football, it's even worse because football is kind of complicated, at least compared to baseball or
baseball's simple. Like, it's not hard to learn.
But
I
still,
love baseball. I think baseball is the most like pure sport. I don't know. I just love. I don't know if it's maybe going to the game. I love going to the games. Like if you'd give me one sport to go to,
no, it's
baseball,
fun.
and then
It's fun when it's a nice day, and
last night was hot.
I feel like baseball too.
Jeff, I had an aisle seat right up third base, right behind the pitcher, section 126. I had my peanuts, my Cracker Jack. I was.
You were loving life on Sunday
I was loving life. I was being a fan. That I was being a fan.
But that's what the football. I will say this about baseball: people are a lot more civil at baseball games. They just are.
Not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not in the playoffs.
No, not in the playoffs.
No, not in the playoffs.
The bank in the playoffs is a fun place, though.
I always told people a rule, like, I don't care if you wear a post, whatever. You cheer for your team, but if I hear you say something stupid about my team, like Isaiah Hartenstein is better Joel Embiid, you are going to get it. You will get blasted by me for 4 quarters on how stupid you sound.
Well, I'm not going to compare them as players, but the fact that Isaiah Hartenstein, is it Steen or Stein?
It's
whatever.
It's Stein.
Was able to do the things he was able to do when he was on the Knicks against Joel Embiid should be embarrassing for Joel Embiid. That's what I would say.
Well, that's what I said too. But the fact that you're saying this like in the first quarter of the game when Joel Embiid just dunked on him, like I'm like, all right.
Fundamentally, he should look at Isaiah Hartenstein and learn from Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah, Zander, you know what my favorite last night was? The Phillies had their JV lineup out because fans couldn't squander the fact that Buddy Kennedy's playing in a big game in June. I'm like, shut up. It's not a big game. I'm like, to these players, it's not a big game at all. Like, the running joke on Friday was all the media was there, and, like, I'm just talking to a couple of players. I'm like, do you guys even know you're playing tonight? Like, they do.
Ed Kratz
I know
is
what
like,
you're saying, yeah.
Ed is like Vic Fangio. He's a big Phillies fan, and he lives and dies with the Phillies. He loves Otto Kemp. It's like, what are we talking about here?
Otto Kemp is the greatest player of all time, according to Ed Kratz.
He's a great story. What do you mean? That's a great story.
About? Is he going back to freaking Lehigh when the real star comes back?
He will not be going back. That's why he's in left field.
Oh, you guys are downplaying the fan element of sports. I mean, that's being a fan. There's no ration, there's not supposed to be too much logic. It's being a fan.
Well, then that's fine. Don't act like you know what you're talking about when you're coming at Jeff Kerr about a baseball team.
That's fine. That's
fine.
Well,
that's fine.
That's what I said. Social media gave a voice to everybody.
No, you don't have to respond to when I'm telling you the truth. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to blow up freaking Otto Kemp just like I don't blow up an Eagle. You're believe me, when Bryce Harper's back, you're going to like Bryce Harper. That's who you're going to like.
Who do you like an Otto Kemp to, John? A Nick Muse?
No, well, he's playing. I don't know if Nick Muse will even make the team, so I guess he's out.
So bad call.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Otto Kemp's a little better than Nick Muse.
Jeff's a better because he covers the Phillies. Give me an Eagles comparison for Otto Kemp.
Yeah, that's good. So I'll go regular starter here. How about Jordan Davis?
Well, I would say not go starter. That's where I would start.
Jordan Davis was a 13th overall draft pick.
How about Ty Robinson? How about that?
Yeah, we can go Ty Robinson.
Because Eagles fans love Ty Robinson because he looks like
I'm just telling you that
the
Phillies are doing whatever they can to make sure Otto Kemp's bat stays in that lineup. That's what
bat. What bat?
Put me in the Ed Kratz room, Johnny Mac. I like Otto Kemp.
What is Otto Kemp doing?
Doing better than what the guy was replacing.
Baseball's a long season. That's a great story here in June right now.
What is the great story?
Team.
Honestly, I don't know.
Undrafted Division II player, just kept hitting throughout the minors. Is a student of or as Rob Thompson calls him, a baseball player. That's the running
he's
joke.
like the TJ McConnell of
He's pretty much TJ
Not a
McConnell's a
bad
really
comp.
good comp. Yeah, I like that.
all right.
TJ McConnell.
All right,
Better than your Jordan Davis comp, Jeff. That was terrible.
Jordan Davis is a starter. Otto Kemp's a starter. That's
Yeah,
what
but
Jordan
Jordan
Davis
Davis-
was a 13th overall pick from a Power 5 school into the NFL. That guy was not.
What does that tell you about Jordan Davis and him? I made a
Yeah,
comparison.
He's got to play a little better to live up to the.
That is an incredible insult to Jordan Davis, by the way.
Yeah, I'll have to apologize to him when I told him I
Yes.
compared him to Otto Kemp. By the way,
Oh,
I have a
man.
fun story about a certain star on the Eagles and a certain star on the Phillies where their paths have collided.
By the way, Otto Kemp
hear
is hitting 260, hasn't hit a home run yet. What the hell are we talking about?
Rob Thompson says his power is coming. That's what he tells me.
John, would you think you were going to look up and see Shohei Ohtani stats? I mean,
Well,
come on.
no, I thought maybe he had a couple home runs.
He had 14 in AAA.
I mean, let's
Rob
hit
Thompson.
one.
Rob Thompson literally said to my face, Otto Kemp is doing exactly
Well,
what they
you know
want him
what?
to do.
Sometimes coaches blow smoke up your ass, and you got to.
Oh, he
back on
does.
Rob
He's
Thompson.
a
Yeah.
bad liar.
Said,
Yeah,
come
Rob
on, dude.
Thompson's blowing a lot of smoke on that for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, I just have to go by what he says, whether I
He's a
agree with
left
it or not.
fielder on a first place club. How about that?
He's played 8 career games in left field, ever,
All right. Well,
including the minors.
there we go.
By the way, so this is my baseball Phillies Eagles comparison story. You guys know AJ Brown and Jesus Luzardo once faced each other?
Really? Is that
In
right?
baseball?
That's a great
Yeah.
story.
Yep.
By the way, who's better, AJ Brown or Otto Kemp?
It might be AJ Brown. AJ Brown was actually drafted.
I meant baseball.
probably
wise.
AJ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I thought
AJ Brown
AJ.
was actually drafted
Yeah.
to play baseball.
I know.
what you meant.
I know.
It's probably
AJ Brown was an All-American. How do you think he played against
I
Jesus
feel like AJ
Luzardo?
would have been great
Yeah.
in the MLB. I bet.
I want to. I've asked Jesus about it. I want to get AJ Brown's side of the story now, 'cause that's going to be a good story. Because I know what happened. I'm not going to say it.
Poor Otto.
John's least favorite movie of all time is Rudy.
Poor Otto is taking.
Rudy was
space.
offside.
I apologize. Well, Rudy's full of shit. That whole story. I don't even. By the way, he got in some legal trouble. I
Yeah,
think.
he did.
Really, I don't know anything about it other than the movie.
Yeah. The movie's made up.
Well, I
mean,
can't stand
know,
Notre
Rudy-
Dame, so I don't watch Rudy.
Yeah, the movie's made up, but that's Hollywood. There's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, for people that think that actually happened, it didn't.
We need John McMullen's top
They
5.
made Dan Devine look like the biggest asshole in the world. By the way, who went on to coach the Green Bay Packers, was a good coach. They made him out to be the worst human being in the world.
Yeah, they
Poor
did.
Dan. Talk about taking strays.
Well, Moneyball did the same thing with Art Howe. Like Art
That's
Howe,
true. That's true.
Art Howe was not like.
Now I love Moneyball. I love that.
I do too.
Yeah,
I
that's a
quote
good
Moneyball all the time.
That's
Yeah.
a good movie. I like
Yeah.
that movie.
You know what? John's favorite quote in Moneyball probably is when he tells off David Justice.
Well, the only issue I have with Moneyball for the actual reality of the situation, they never mentioned the A's pitching, which was phenomenal.
Or that they had the MVP of the league that year.
Yeah. They never mention it. It's all Scott Hatterberg.
Who's the other one that they like to mention? It's Scott Hatterberg. It's Chad Bradford. There's another one.
Oh, yeah. The goofy Chad Bradford.
There's
pitching
sidearms.
lesson. Yeah. But it's a good movie. It's a really good movie.
It's very entertaining. By the way, Xander, you excited to see F1 this weekend? The movie.
Where is it this weekend?
The movie, but Brad Pitt.
Is that
comes
is that
out
released
this
weekend?
Yeah,
Wow,
it
I
comes
didn't
out
know
this
that.
weekend.
I don't follow that. As
I
much,
heard
but
it's
I'll
pretty
definitely
good.
watching the movie. Yeah, I'll definitely be watching it.
Yeah, I heard it's
I've
pretty
been following the F1 season this year. McLaren's just cooking.
good. Yeah, they're smoking.
Yeah.
The
They're
NASCAR
good.
race was pretty good yesterday. I got to watch it today, but
Jeff's a big NASCAR guy.
I am.
Yeah, we got one of our great viewers is works for NASCAR. I told you that, Jeff, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
were laughing about because we interviewed Stenhouse at the Phillies game last week, and no one asked about Carson Hocevar, and he gets into it with Carson Hocevar again last Sunday, and Stenhouse thought he was going to beat his ass or something when he got back to the States because they were in Mexico City. I'm like, what a quote.
Yeah, I'm not F1 really took off. I think it's from that Netflix series.
It is. It is. And by the way,
I think
that's all.
it petered off a little bit in America, though. It plateaued a little, not plateaued completely, but I think there was an initial craze.
There are things I love about F1 and things I can't stand about F1. And honestly, Drive to Survive is one of the things I don't like about F1.
Yeah, me too. That's me too. I never even watched it.
Yeah, like I watched it, but I'm like,
I watched like a couple episodes of
yeah.
a couple seasons, but
like,
I never watched
here's what I say. So I'll ask Jeff, since I have no knowledge of any kind of racing, F1, NASCAR, whatever. Like it how much does a great driver make a difference if you got a shitty car? Like
it doesn't. It doesn't.
That's you cannot win if you don't have a good car.
Yeah. So to me,
especially F1,
I can't get into that. It's about the machine. It's not about the people.
Yeah, the drivers do matter. I mean, you can tell that when you give a great driver a great car, that's when you can really see how great the driver is. But to your point, John, I mean,
perfect example of this today, John. You just named it. Kyle Larson in NASCAR, like race for Chip Ganassi. Got let go because he used a stupid racial slur on the internet. But, that paved the way for him to sign with Hendrick. And now all of a sudden he has 30 wins in the last, 4 years. And he's really, really good. But he always was really, really good. Everybody said he had this talent. It just wasn't on the super team. Or he wasn't on one of the top teams.
To me, it's like you're rooting for the cars. An inanimate object.
No, the pinnacle is if you have multiple great drivers with multiple great cars, and then you really see a battle. I mean, remember Abu Dhabi? What was that, 4 years ago, Jeff?
Oh yeah.
Verstappen versus Hamilton. That was. I mean,
and honestly, Zander, you're right.
Anybody could have watched that and been entertained.
That was the peak. That was the peak of F1.
Yeah, that was.
And everybody's like, "Oh, the points battle is stupid." I'm like, it's like this every year.
And then
guys.
I listened to the Mercedes fanboys cry. Is that you, Jeff? You must.
No, I am not a Mercedes fan.
Okay, a Lewis Hamilton Mercedes groupie.
First off, this is my opinion about Mercedes.
They stole it. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, first off, Mercedes
getting everything on Birds 365. We're getting Mercedes hate.
The only reason they were any good is because they changed the regulations to favor them, and Lewis Hamilton jumped ship to go over there.
Yeah,
well, that's like the NFL shutting down the Eagles, trying to shut down the Eagles.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Then they're going.
I'm exaggerating.
Yeah. Well, John would be interested. They did do a spending cap now in the cars. So now it's like a salary cap.
That's why Red Bull wasn't as good anymore.
Exactly. It's also why Mercedes isn't as good anymore. Mercedes, when they dominated 7 straight titles with whatever it was with
Hamilton and Rosberg.
Yeah, right. I mean, that was, let's be real. They had the best car by a country mile.
Yeah, and now, like you said, Zander, with the salary cap, that's limited Red Bull.
Right.
And McLaren's not paying Piastri what Verstappen's making.
I think Piastri might be better than Lando, but let's see.
I think he is better than Lando.
Yeah, me too. Jody Johnson. What's up, Jody? Like that name? Little Jody Mack nod right there. Terrell Owens is the reason I'm an Eagle fan, believe it or not, but John said nothing but facts. Wow, so Jody believes that John is correct.
I love that, though. Like, T.O. did bring in a new generation of Eagles fans. I love that.
I'm not saying – I'm not saying T.O. was a bad receiver. He was a great receiver. He's a Hall of Fame receiver.
One of the greatest receivers ever.
I think that's how good A.J. is, and he's on that kind of trajectory. And he's more consistent. Obviously, he's a team captain. He's a better teammate. It's just better. Maybe not. Probably not quite as explosive as T.O. And I think people get enamored by the explosiveness.
I think T.O. was like, and AJ's like this too, but in a different way. Their box office, like you're waiting for them to have the big play.
Well, it's like, who's the best? Most people say Jerry Rice correctly is the best receiver of all time, but there's a few that say Randy Moss, who I got to cover, and he is, from an explosion standpoint, he's certainly the best receiver. But from a consistency standpoint, Jerry Rice is better.
Jerry Rice had 1,000 receiving yards at 40.
Yeah. Wow. And he shouldn't have been playing at 40, but to me, that's a volume thing. That's not why I put him up. But I say the same thing about Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders, better runner by far. Emmitt Smith, better running back. because he could do everything. He could block.
The thing is, Barry probably would have been the all-time rushing leader, and it probably wouldn't have been touched if he would have kept playing.
Yeah.
Gave up.
Maybe the best runner ever. Runner.
Yeah.
So are we doing a disservice by the way that we use and utilize AJ Brown, or at least last year? I mean, we won the Super Bowl, so how can we complain?
I mean, you gotta remember he missed.
I'm just saying though, you guys. I mean,
this?
and listen, I don't disagree with you, but we're talking about this guy like one of the great. He could be one of the most talented, greatest receivers of all time if he continues on the pace he's on, or on the trajectory he's on. And
but I think
we're a running team.
Yeah, I mean,
we're a running team. We got one of the best receivers in football.
But his legacy is kind of already set. He makes the All-Pro team every year.
Poor guy. Same thing happened in Tennessee. He's with Derrick Henry in Tennessee.
Yeah, Derrick Henry to Saquon Barkley to Jalen Hurts.
I mean, he makes All-Pro teams every year, and people are going to look back 20 years from now and say, "Hey, look, AJ Brown was really good on a really good football team."
Yeah, and look, Dominique is right. He says, "Zander, the guy is yet to miss being an All-Pro." He's not wrong about that. But what would AJ Brown be doing in a passing offense? I don't know.
We already saw. I mean, he played 2 years without Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley. He had 1,496 yards and 1,450.
Yeah, and let's be real; those weren't the most prolific passing offenses, even those years.
No, not even close.
Yeah, not even close.
But I mean, 22. Like when he came here, he was just. Like, I always think of the meme where he's pointing at the Steelers players and he just decided to torch them.
That was
like,
that's
AJ Brown
season, man. That was a fun season because we had struggling wide receivers for so long. Then Devontae showed up. We went to the playoffs and weren't good enough. And then we got AJ and he just lit the league on fire. That was a great season.
AJ was incredible. I mean, he's been incredible since he's been here.
Well, if you had, say Kirk Cousins with Jefferson, AJ would be up at 16, 17, 1,800 yards.
Yeah, if he played in a Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell offense, for the prolific numbers. But I think people know the Eagles are a well-balanced football team. They're not trailing a lot. And
they should know. They should know.
They should know, but they don't know.
Our listeners know because they listen to Birds.
Oh, Jalen Hurts doesn't throw for 5,000 yards. I guess not. He's not trailing much.
Well, 5,000 is a different extreme. People will say 2,903 is the opposite end of that extreme.
My issue is when I'd rather have Joe Burrow. Fine. Okay, you'd rather have Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow puts up this, and this. I guess he does. His team's always losing.
Well, Jeff, I'll throw this at you. And thanks for sticking around because we're keeping you a long time. But my most hated conversation, and Zander knows this, is the run-pass ratio.
Oh, yeah, it's annoying.
It just drives me insane. Like that people can't figure out what's the run pass ratio going to be. Zander knows this because, Cilio will ask me, Degon back in the day, whomever. Everybody asks me the same damn question. What's the run pass ratio going to be this week? And I say the same goddamn thing every week. And I got to believe people are tired of hearing it, but they continually ask like it's going to change. What is the score in the fourth quarter? And I'll tell you what the run pass ratio is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, why can't people understand that?
I forget the game it was in 23 when people are chanting to Nick to run the ball. And my tweet went viral. I said, Eagles fans are chanting to run the ball. Do they know they're down 10? Oh, how dare you insult our intelligence? I'm like, do you know you're down 10?
Unless you're blind drunk. If you're down 10 with 6 minutes left and you're running the football, they're going to boo the shit out of you too. If they're not drunk, because they want to go win the game.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things that just make you bang your head against the wall. Like, why is this a discussion? Why?
I used to say all last year, the Eagles really need to throw the ball in the second half. They're usually winning. By a lot.
Well, and that's the funny part. Every year you'll see some genius on X that come up with, boy, the teams that run the football the most are in the playoffs. And they figure out they're the first they're the first person to figure that out. Look what I found. All these teams made the playoffs.
When you're winning a football game, you run.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. Someone said to me last year, the Eagles wouldn't make the Super Bowl without Saquon Barkley, and I just responded, "Yeah, no shit." Like,
Fans walk into Birds 365 on Monday and they walk out with freaking black eyes and headaches.
Probably thinking we're all idiots. I don't care.
Oh man.
Hey, as long as you guys like it and it's entertaining, I don't care.
Jeff, let's close it up on Jihad Campbell. Me and John talked a little bit about him in the open because John and Ed Kratz are doing their top 25 Eagles. And they do each make a 25 and then they combine the list.
Hey, John, did you put Tanner McKee on there yet? Because Dave Zagaro did.
I did not. Well, again, Dave's is most impactful. So different.
Oh, okay. That's how
like
Dave
I don't do most impactful. Dave does. And I love Dave.
Yeah, Dave's awesome.
Because to me it's not interesting because number one's always the quarterback. Like I brought up Tanner McKee when explaining my list. I'm like, if Jalen Hurts gets hurt, God forbid, Tanner McKee is the most important player on the Eagles, most impactful player on the Eagles. Yeah. So to me, it's not an interesting conversation. My definition is who does their job the best. That's how I rank the players. Who I think does their particular job description the best. That's, to me, the best pure football player. You probably already guess. I don't hide it.
I don't know. It could be tough with Lane Johnson, but I don't know where you're going.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, to me, it's always the quarterback. Whether the quarterback is a superstar or he's the worst quarterback in the NFL, the starting quarterback is always the most impactful player on the field. So to me, that's not interesting. It's obvious.
Yeah, it's the most important position in professional sports. I know everybody hates.
Well, I would argue starting pitcher on a given day might be more important.
Yeah,
I'd argue goalie.
At least old baseball. Maybe not now when it's 5 innings and you've done
pile
your
of
job.
Dust. Yeah.
But back in the day,
7, 8 innings you were getting.
Yeah. Sandy.
I'd argue goalie in hockey, man. Look at the Flyer. You don't get a goalie in hockey or the Philadelphia Flyers.
I couldn't watch the Stanley Cup this year because I was on it.
At least you can roll out a new starting pitcher the next game or pull him and put in a new guy.
I said that's the thing. Starting
day.
pitchers on any particular day. Starting pitcher. Yeah. The old adage in baseball, the cliche is momentum is only as good as tomorrow's starting pitcher. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, that's it.
I'm going to cheer Eagles fans up right now, and I'm going to use the Flyers analogy. Because Ed Snyder tried to be the Jerry Jones of the NHL for 20 years, and the Flyers just kept buying and buying and buying old end talent and getting rid of good young talent.
How dare you impugn Mr. Snyder's legacy?
Oh, I'm going to impugn it. The Flyers suck and have sucked and will continue to suck. And it's going to happen to the Dallas Cowboys when Jerry Jones eventually is no longer their owner.
I bet you Flyers fans would want Ed Snyder, and I joke because I hated when people would call him Mr. Snyder.
Mr. Snyder. Yeah, come on.
I called him Ed, and people looked at me like I had 3 heads.
My dad was a senior in high school when the Flyers last won anything, a championship. So there you go. It's been a while.
Yeah.
50 years.
Any more fan trauma stories that you guys want to dump out on?
Last week you called us curmudgeons, and now we're enjoying ourselves.
But,
just shitting on us about this.
But look at the way you guys are enjoying yourselves. You're enjoying yourselves by absolutely shredding the fans of this show. It's pretty
when I was talking about the run pass ratio, I wasn't even talking about fans. I'm talking about other media.
Other media people. We were ripping on them.
Yeah.
I mean, you will find a media person that thinks he found basically the meaning of life. Look, all the playoff teams ran the football more than the teams that passed the football. Wow. How did that happen?
Zander, I have a new goal for you as a content creator.
All right, let's hear it.
You have to find a way to be like some of these content creators that I have no idea what they do in sports media. At least I know what you do. And they're at all these events and they're sitting behind home plate and they're doing this and they're doing that. And I'm like, what do you do? I'm curious. Like,
probably make content, brother. Content has become a massive industry.
Content?
It's always been a big industry.
Zander Krause can sit behind the plate and make content. I'd rather watch that.
Well, maybe I got to do something different, Jeff. You let me know.
What you got to do? You got to film
we'll collab
yourself
on it.
You got to film yourself every second of the day. That's what you got to do.
Well, that is a way to do it for sure.
I mean, I think this is great content. It's
Yeah,
5 years running, Jeff.
Hey,
It's
I
hard
think
to
a lot of
do.
people. I take pride. A lot of people copied this show. I'm sorry, but they did.
No, they did. They did.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And now there's 75 Eagles daily shows. But
How many Eagles daily shows can you watch?
I don't know. I'm glad the people that watch this one, but yeah, it's depressing sometimes.
We do it with Phillies Weekly. Everybody goes, "Oh my God, it's so great to have a once a week show where it's just you guys are actually talking about baseball, what's going on." Like, yeah, that's usually what happens when you have actual baseball people who are in the clubhouse talking to people.
Well, that's
Yeah.
I think you brought somebody up yesterday. I don't even know who it was. I'm like I think a lot of people don't realize that those guys are not at the NovaCare complex. Am I wrong with that? Or-
I think that's the case. I think people don't know that they're not there.
I don't know. I don't know. But like a bunch of these people are not there. I don't know if people know that or don't know that.
Yeah.
Because they act like they're there.
Yeah, a lot of them do. John and I have a blast at that training camp.
What's going to be your schedule at training camp, Jeff? I would imagine you're going to be all
Dude,
over the map.
It's going to be nuts. The Phillies play the Red Sox the first week. And I'm going to be like, John knows I did. John knows I did this last year, though, when the Phillies played the Yankees. It was like I was going to training camp, writing stories there, and I literally walked right across it. I would change in like the media locker room so I could put on long pants and go to
the media locker.
whatever we call it. The media bathroom.
The media house.
Yeah,
it's like a frat house.
I think a frat house is nicer.
It is. Yeah. they don't spend a lot of time cleaning for us.
I mean, Phillies would even joke with me, like, what, you're going to change it here today? I'm like, just putting on long pants. Like, no one's in here. Like,
all right, Jeff, any final thoughts on this show? This has been one for the ages today.
What for the ages? This is peak off-season content, boys.
Yeah,
it is.
You got some Eagles, you got some Phillies, you got some NBA finals.
Don't forget Sam Hinkie. I mean, you got Sam Hinkie.
F1.
Yeah, we're getting NASCAR. We're getting it all, boys.
We did. We are getting it all.
Yeah, we even show them the flyers.
Yep,
manifesto talk.
Yeah, I want to read John McMullen's manifesto. I wonder what it would say.
Talk.
I think John would have a 2-word manifesto.
I'm not insane, so I don't have a manifesto.
Wait, Jeff, what would it be? Stop it.
No, better than that. Think a little simpler than.
Stop it. If it's not stop
it. Two words and one starts with F.
Fuck you.
Yes.
No, stop it's a good one.
Stop it would be a good one. Yeah.
Stop it would be the McMullen. All right, Jeff, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you for giving us the extended time. As always, great job covering the Phils. You head in. Where are they next? Are they home next?
No, they'll be in Houston, and then they'll be in Atlanta. Then they come back. So pretty much none of the minor league teams are here this week. I'm kind of baseball free this week. It's gonna be nice.
Wow.
There you go. All right. Baseball free.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Jeff. Yeah. Go ahead, man. Finish up. You can finish up.
Oh no. Then I got the homestand, then 2 weeks off, and then training camp.
There you go, brother. Yeah, it's all happening quick. Season's coming quick. Jeff, we appreciate you, brother. We love you here on Birds 365. All the great fans. Even if you take a shit on them every day, they love you.
I don't care.
Whether they admit it or not, they love Jeff Kerr. Jeff, we love you, brother. We appreciate it, man.
I think love's a very strong word there, Zander.
Taking some heat off me, so I love it. Yeah.
All right, brother. We appreciate it. Thank you,
See
Jeff.
you, guys.
See you, bud.
There's Jeff Kerr joining us here on Birds 365. Great stuff there from Jeff Kerr. Great topics, John. Like you said, we hit it all today on Birds 365, brother.
Yeah, man. What didn't we get to?
I don't know what we didn't get to. I'm even
some wrestling, big wrestling. There we go. I meant to get some wrestling in because there is a big Night of Champions PLE event set for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, which that might be problematic considering what's going on in the Middle East. So that's going to be interesting. But there's also big boxing. It's called Riyadh season. Saudi Arabia keeps paying this big money to get sporting events. And I don't know how comfortable people are going to be going there.
I don't know either. And let me tell you, they got so much money that people can't say no. So it's happening, whether people like it or not.
It's going to be interesting. So it's Friday and Saturday, I think. It's going to be interesting if they have to move it.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening with that. Johnny Mac, John, your final thoughts on this show? I thought we started it off pretty good with the top 25, so we'll get your 23rd player. That article should release today on Sports Illustrated. We'll do that.
I meant to tell Jeff he's probably going to be excited by number 23. That's a hint.
That's a hint. I'm going to have to think about that. The other thing I want to talk about this week is a little Antoine Powell-Ryland. So we'll talk a little bit about
we didn't get to him.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about him today, but we didn't get to him. So we'll talk about him maybe tomorrow in the Open or once we do that 23rd player, and we'll hit on a little APR. We'll talk about him. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts here on this Monday edition of Birds 365.
Started out, I'll end it. Stay cool, everybody. Locally, I know there's a lot of people listening all over the world, really, but locally it's really, really hot. So everybody stay cool. And make sure you take care of those pets. I'm a big dog guy, obviously.
Yep, there you go. John, 73 days till September 4th, 29 days till July 22nd, and then they're on the field July 23rd, so 30 days until then. It's happening quick, my friend. I appreciate you doing it today, Johnny Mac. We'll catch up with you tomorrow on a Tuesday edition of Birds 365.
All right, thanks all.
All right, thanks, Johnny Mac. There's J Mac here on Birds 365. Great show today, everybody. Great stuff with Jeff Kerr. Great stuff with Johnny Mac. Great opening segment with the top 25 countdown. Jihad, Drew, and Matt Pryor are the first three players to make the list. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. It's always good to have a good crowd in here on a Monday morning. What's going on, everybody? I got a little bit of a better setup today. The laptop was kicking. I'm like, I got to get this laptop out. All right, so I brought back in the iMac, brought back in the desktop. It's working a little better today. Sorry for JD3. My bad, brother. I didn't see it. Hate to say it to you, but I didn't see it. JD3 says, J-Mac, did you like Punk or Cena's pipe bomb better? I like Punk's, but that's John's best heel work yet. I don't know what the heck you're talking about, JD3, so that was truly a chat for John McMullen. So I apologize. Big Mike, you have a great day, my guy. I appreciate you, Big Mike. Jeff Kerr is funny. I find Jeff Kerr to be absolutely hilarious for maybe reasons that aren't conventional, if that makes sense. Z, you like that Phillies double slide, kid? Yeah. Abe, Rich, I use FanDuel. Crowley says, Brian, VJ Edgecombe helping the Sixers get the first pick in the draft next year. That's Crowley trolling Brian Pumper. What are these dummies talking about in the chat? With the saying that Martin Brodeur is not the GOAT. That is crazy. Does WWE cancel the event? I don't know what they're going to do. We'll see. Here's Conger. Roy ended his career with 42 more playoff wins than Marty. Still a record that stands today. It is an impressive record by Patrick Rock, for sure. Marty's the better goaltender, though. Hypocrites don't care about hypocrisy. That would be a good. There you go, Secunda. You got a good one. Shady says, thanks, guys. I now know I'm more stupid than I thought. It is funny. That segment with John and Jeff is hilarious. They're just like, you all are retarded, basically. It's hilarious. Xander, you back at the crib? Not yet, Abe. Thursday. Hearsay, which says, with over 12 picks in next year's draft, what's your prediction on a Howie trade move? I don't know, man. I feel like he's pretty comfy. I mean, look at what we've done all offseason. Why do we, I don't know if I feel like another player is going to come in here. I mean, listen to this. If they get to camp and they make this move, I think we got a problem because it shows you that they're not feeling very good, not very confident about the guys that they have. So if they sign a safety, probably means they're not very confident in Makuba at camp. If they sign a corner, it means Keely Ringo didn't look too hot. And Adoree didn't look too hot. So we'll see, but I don't think anybody. Z, who's your all-time favorite hockey player? That's a great question. Yeah, probably Ovechkin because I grew up with Ovechkin. Like Ovechkin. It's good. I mean, hockey player, Ovechkin, goalie, Martin Brodeur. I was always a goalie, so I cared a lot about goalies. But Ovechkin's a good one. You know what? You want to hear a one that I loved? Shoot, how am I blanking on his name? Jaromir Jagr. How about that, Rich? Loved Jaromir Jagr. Played who was like 50, that dude. Pavel Datsuk's a great one, Tyler. Are you kidding me? I love that whole team, that Pavel Datsuk team. I love that whole team. Sig, I got Kerr beating both. 3 players on breakout watch. Ooh, this is a good topic. 3 players on breakout watch. Jalix Hunt. Give me Devontae Smith. Well, you got if Devontae Smith gets 1,300 yards, is that a breakout or no? If you guys tell me no, I'll take him off. If he gets 1,300 yards, is that a Martin St. Louis? That's a good one, Dank Bird Gang with Vinny LeCavalier. That was a fun team. Harrison Bryant. The only thing that guy's breaking out is a bag of chips on the couch. Guy's breaking out a box of chips and a Kool-Aid. What are you talking about, JD3? Jalix and Ty, that's good. Nikolai Habibulin. You botched the spelling. Dank, you absolutely botched the spelling of Nikolai Habibulin. But a good attempt. A good attempt. Not even close, though. I couldn't do it either, so. Depends on if we are passing. I think all the breakout candidates are on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, how come I'm picking all? That's why I went Devontae, because I'm like, I want to pick somebody on offense. Could Devontae take the jump to 1,400 yards this year? Maybe. With over 12 picks in next year's draft, what's your prediction on the Howie trade move? I already answered that, but I got you, bro. I didn't see it. Look it up, Zay. Tyler, I don't need your hockey. Tyler, if you think your hockey opinions are going to sway me, you got another thing coming, kid. Take a seat, kick the feet up, and sit back and relax, buddy, before I put you in the cut corner. All right, Tyler? Fucking guy wants me to, Patrick Wall is better. No, he's not. He's not a better goaltender than Martin Brodeur. He's not. It's Habibulin. Is that right? No, is it? Nikolai Habibulin. That is it, dude. I loved him. What years were the Red Wings the best, Tyler? Like 08, 09? Probably. 08, I think they won the cup, right? I love that roster. Henrik Zetterberg, Nicholas Lidstrom, Chris Osgood, that's right. That was a fun roster. Chris Chelios, holy moly, that was a fun. Chris Draper, Valtteri Filppula, Dominic Hasek. There he is. Shout out to the guy in the chat who told me Dominic Hasek was the GOAT, and he didn't even spell the name right. Shady, I hate to do it to you, but that'd be like saying Jordan is the GOAT and you spell his name with a G. LeBron James is the GOAT and you can't even spell his name right. Come on, man. 97. Well, that was a little earlier than Datsuk, though, right? I don't think Datsuk was there in 97. Was he? Might have been early career Datsuk. Xander just saying gibberish. Key and Peele with the fake names. Now they're hockey names. Hockey names are always goofer. Okay, Xander Kerr. That's funny. No, I don't. I'm not putting you down. I'm just telling you that your take on who's the GOAT is a shit take. There's a difference between calling you stupid, Shady, and saying your take is a pile of steaming dog shit. Big difference. Big difference, Shady. All right, I'm getting out of here. I love all you guys. This was a fun show today. Let me make sure I pull the Boom! Yeah, Bob! Let's go, Bob! Boom! Facts, Bob. Look at this guy. He's got a Chiefs logo. Come on in, Bob. The water is fine here, Bob. Come on in, Bob. You might be a Chiefs fan. We might have just beat the piss out of you in the Super Bowl. But come on in with that Brodeur take. Come on in with that Brodeur take. That's money. Bob is spitting super hot fire this morning. Tyler Conger brings up a team accolade with the playoff wins. Tyler, watch a little bit more hockey, Tyler. Come on, man. Sig Lord, no comment. Izzy B, don't leave us. You sound like you're begging on your knees, Izzy B. It's a little foul. Jordan is the GOAT. 100% Jordan is the GOAT. Hasek, 3 Hart trophies. Mart ain't nothing. Come on, man. Zeal, watch hockey. Hasek, 6 medicines. Marty, 4. Hasek's a great player. Great goalie. I have him number 2, and I have Waugh 3. I got Curry over LeBarbie. I think Curry might have. Did Curry? Here's a debate. I'm not saying Curry's better than LeBron. I think LeBron's the second best basketball player of all time. I mean that with no disrespect. Did Curry change the game more than LeBron? He definitely did, right? Curry definitely had a bigger impact on the game than LeBron. Secunda, I hate war, brother. I'm praying for peace. That's what I'm praying for. I'm not praying for a winner or a loser. I'm praying for peace. I'm praying for absolute peace, which I know is unlikely. Doesn't mean I can't pray for it, though. Curry changed the game more than anyone since Jordan. Yeah, I agree. Brian, I got Kobe over Bron. That's tough for me, but I don't hate the take. 100%. Curry had an MJ impact on the game. Deep shooters wasn't happening until Curry came in and took the big man out of the game. You're right, Hearsay. That's why I brought it up. Obviously, I think LeBron is overall a better player, but Curtis, I'm with you. Well, no, Secunda, I was just answering on my thoughts on it. I hate war, bro. I really do. On every side. Curtis says, I don't like the way Curry changed the game. Well, Curtis, it's because he was too good at it. He was too good at it. I mean, nobody can do what he does, and then everybody tried to do what he does and can't do it as good as he did. So it's a way uglier, worse version of what Curry did. When Curry did, it was one of the funnest things in the world to watch. I mean, the guy crossed half court and launched a triple, and it was cash money. You know, now it's just like John said, nobody can run a fast break. Nobody plays defense. Nobody boxes out. Nobody plays the fundamentals anymore. It's ugly, but I hear you. All right, everybody, I appreciate all of you guys tuning in today. Hit the like button for me. We had a great crowd in here. As always, we appreciate all of you guys. Off-season rolling along. We're 29 days away from training camp, 30 days until they're on the football field, 70, what did I say they were? 70, what? 73 days away from the banner drop. 73 days away from the banner drop. Okay? I love it. I love it. And John and Jeff are going to come on here, however many Mondays we have between that time, and they're going to make fun of us for caring about the banner drop. And Shady, I'll side with you on this. I'll say F you, John and Jeff. F you. This is why we invest time, money, resources. You guys watch Birds 365. We love this team. They've won 2 Super Bowls in 60 freaking years. You better believe I am going to enjoy watching that banner fall from the rafters. You better believe it. Okay? Or lift it up, rather, to the rafters. It used to be released. You think, wait, do they lift it in the link or will they release it? You know, some people like cover it up and they release it, or some people lift it up. We'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. All right. All I know is I'm excited for it. And no amount of curmudgeon McMullen or curmudgeon Kerr will get me off that. All right. I love all you guys. Great show. Zeal, thank you, brother. Keese. Camel Keese. Thank you, Keese. Shady. Shady. I love you, brother. Stop taking everything so personal. All right. All right. I love you, Shady. Keese, Siglord, Shady, Tyler, JD3. Izzy B, who's begging me not to leave. Hearsay, Pumper, Kimberly, Secunda, Curtis. Who else? Crowley, Dank Bird Gang, Brian Fleming. Appreciate all you guys, man. I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button as it helps us grow here on the channel, especially in June. All right, your guys' super chats go a long way at this time of the year, so I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks to our 2 super chatters today. JD3, sorry I didn't read it to John, and Jody Johnson. Thank you for the super chat, brother. That was a big take by John, that AJ's better than TL. I don't know if I can agree with that, and I'll have to look into it a little bit more. We'll see. Appreciate you all. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate, inside the locker room, and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.